Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, it's January. Oh, I wish it was January. August 5, right? Yep. And Tuesday, August 5, and the Nasdaq was down 137 points or 0.65% on real light volume here this week, kind of summer-like volume. But the Nasdaq still closed, even though it was down 137 points, it still closed nearly 1% above the 21. So I'm going to stay on green though, but I'm cautious because my last buy didn't work, and then I bought something today. So we'll see how that works. But that kind of tells me how the market's doing. I got a couple of things to gauge it by. And we've seen some leading stock sell off. I'll get to that towards the end of the video. But I wanted to go through quickly, after getting through some earnings report, just some themes, what I'm seeing in the market, just observing, observing the fish at the aquarium, and then some earnings tonight. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop right there with the Nasdaq. It was down, still above, so I'm gonna stay aggressive. I will say that the IWM was the strong index today. Small cap, which is, contains a little more risk. I think about 18% of this index is, these small, financial small banks. But, if you look at this, yeah, that looks like a big cup with handle pattern. So hopefully the IWM will break out. Yeah, it was up 0.5% today while the Nasdaq floundered. All right, I'm going to get to some news items from this morning and go through some earnings. Star Surgical, this one, I used to trade this one back in the day. It used to be a really fantastic stock. Boy, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it was had this nice uptrend since the financial crisis. It had a nice move up until the bear market of, the end of 2021. But they were bought out, and then AIP, they ripped today. That's a move not to be ignored when up 37% on a deal with AMD. So that was some news from this morning. Last night, we had earnings from Palantir. Obviously, one of the top software names. This is one of the top performers in the S&P in 2025, up nearly 8% today, 173 close. Very nice for the longs there. You can see a gap higher on the daily. On the weekly, this thing's just grinding higher. Did not break, no upper channel line. I've got so many people saying that it's okay. STRL, this is Sterling Infrastructure. They reported they were up a little higher today, closed at 20% of the daily range. Obviously, the weakness in the entire market didn't help, but you want to see that close, on the upper half of the daily range, closing the lower half. Still 9% move. Nice for Sterling Infrastructure. In that same group, PRIM, Primoris Services, it was up 17%. Little stronger move than Sterling Infrastructure. This one was up 17% and closed at 65% of the daily range. There you can see it breaking out. Nice, very nice here. Yeah, Primoris. I had this one on our ready list a couple weeks ago. I was looking back at it. Some of my, I thought I had it. I didn't buy it, but it's always nice to know, follow up. This is ThredUp. I guess it's a women's and kids apparel. But anyway, nice move on earnings from last night. So congrats to the longs there. And now I'm going to get to the nitty-gritty stuff. Ugh. Hims and hers. It seems like every medical, excuse me, everything, every stock related to drugs just gets hammered. We got some more after hours tonight, but yeah, that one, Hims and hers, down 12%, not so great. Mercado Libre. Wow, it ended up flat on the day. It was down a lot. Let's take a look. I saw it at the open, and I kind of got busy. Yeah, it started off, and then some buyers came in. So good for MELI just to end up flat. Way to fight back. Get off the deck and fight back. And then another drug stock, Vertex, making a new low. And this is kind of what we're seeing. A lot of, and I'm going to get to this at the end of the video, just a lot of stocks. They look like they're starting like stage 4 declines here. And this worries me. It concerns me about this current rally. Vertex, one of the a lot of drug stocks are getting hammered. Nothing new there. So I'm going to move on to something a little more pleasant. Um, Axon, these guys are sneaky good, man. When they report earnings, they usually pop, and this one popped 16%, close at the upper quartile of its daily range. Very nice move for AXON, the former Taser. Yeah, this thing's been a monster forever. Model book stock here. Axon Enterprise, very nice. And then I already did that one. And then this morning's reports, Caterpillar, flat, not a great report. Nothing to write home about. DuPont, de Nemours, up 2%. Chemical company Eaton, I know that one started off down, yeah, down 7%. Ouch. Lemonade, insurance. Oh, wow, up 30%. Very nice move. Closed 85% of the daily range. That's a move not to be ignored. For sure. Pfizer reported, this is just an old stodgy. It was up 5%. That's pretty good, but you can see this thing's just in a downtrend forever. These things look horrible. Got to be honest. The drug stocks just like impossible to make money in those things. Zoetis, this is like a dog and animal, I shouldn't say dog, animal health company. Reported, man, it was up in the morning and then sold off. Sellers came in, yeah, look at that gap up. Then adios, muchachos. Oh well, that's the way it goes. It was rejected at the 50 like Matambo, and then earnings are just real wonky, man. It's really hard to play earnings. This is a Jacob Solution. This is in the Primoris Sterling, Quanta Services Group. And you can see it's got this big cup, with handle and up 4% today after earnings. So very nice move. One to watch. And then the star of the show, Xometry, XMTR up 43%. Wow, breaking out of a base. This is a machine stock. Look at that. Wow. Very nice. Up to 45 after hours. And then we had some pin action from SYM Symbiotic, like it needs pin action. This thing looks like a high tide flag. Let's check out the weekly here. We're getting quite a few high tide flags here where runs up and then just stalls out, goes sideways for a few weeks and then pops. 24% move this week. Yeah, I've seen a few of those high tide flags. They're pretty rare, but that's kind of where the market's been since Liberation Day in April. All right. Let me see. What other bad news do I have here? Oh, the last one. Bell Ringer brand Bell Ring brand making a new low today, down 32%. Yeah, just man, yeah, that's a nice stage four. So we're seeing a lot of stocks going into stage four, and that concerns me way more in stage four than like every morning I post a relative strength list. And all those stocks are strong. Every night I do my report and I'm only showing stocks that are, trending higher because that's what a swing trader looks for. That's what I look for, but there's fewer and fewer of those stocks. And I'm finding way fewer stocks setting up in bases, and it's just becoming harder. And so when it gets hard, you got to be a little more cautious. Like I said, my last stock that I bought, I got stopped out of. That, is a red flag for me. The yellow flag, how about that? But I bought something today, and we'll see how that goes. All right, I'm going to move on. We saw a rotation today out of the mega cap tech stocks and into this GFI. This one I put on the ready list this week. And I know people are thinking, oh, gold sucks. Well, this thing's up 18% this week. I did not buy this one. I should have. But yeah, now it's on, day three. So I wouldn't be buying that one tomorrow. It's probably going to pull back tomorrow, but that's a hell of a move. Thank you very much. Ego, this one blasted out of a base today, up 6%. Another gold stock up, 10% this week. These things are flying. And I keep coming back to these. This is every Saturday I post the top groups, and these guys have been in the top group. Every one of these gold stocks have been up this year. And it's just a degree of how much appreciation they've had. And yeah, they've stalled out for a while, but now it looks like they want to move again. You could see this is Agnico Eagle. Yeah, it's been a while, right? But now it wants to break out of this little box, so you let it. That's a nice period of consolidation there. for AEM. Did I put that one on the ready list? No, I only put one gold stock on. KGC, Kinross, gold making new highs. These things are super strong. I mean, I know they're defensive, right? Um, Slowing economy, maybe. I don't know that people are using it as a hedge. But I don't really care about the reason why. It's just these things are popping. AU, this is the top performer of all these stocks, up 16% this week. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this group number one next week because energy is kind of pulling back a little bit. And then OR royalties popping, man. This thing's been going up forever and a day. And then ORLA, OR and ORLA. So, this one didn't participate today. How about that? Below the 52. Forget about it. Loser. All right. The other group is the home builder stock. I put DHI on the ready list today, and I bought this one. It's got that high from earnings. It gapped up on earnings, made a high, and then pulled back. 153.75, pulled back to its 21 here. And so I thought that would be go time there above the 153 area. And it popped above it today, closed above it a little bit. So I bought some. We'll see what happens. If I get shaken out, I get shaken out. So yeah, I'm not going to lose more than 4 or 5% on something like this. Yeah, I'm not going to let it go below that 150 level from Monday. So that would be your weekly low right there. Yeah, 150. So, all right, we'll see how that plays out. Builder, because I hate losing money. Rubric, that was not a good trade for me. Builder First Source, this is the home builders. They're getting some love, but the problem with Builder is it's below the 200. But it's above the moving averages, and that's what I like about Horton and Pulte Homes. These are kind of two of the stronger names in the home builders. The short-term moving averages, the 5 and the 21, have rallied through the longer-term moving averages. So you want to see, and the short term is curling up. This is trending up. So I expect higher prices from Pulte and DR Horton, but we'll see. I think it's kind of anticipating, some rate cuts going forward, which seems likely. The more, passing days and weeks, it seems a little more likely that we're going to get them eventually. All right, and then some material names. MP, this one, speaking of high type flags, this one made this big run, and during, liberation hours. And then it made this little flag pattern, and this week it's popped nearly 8%. So that one I should have had on my radar list, but I don't think I did. I had it last week. Oh, that's right. A lot of these stocks I'm finding have earnings this week, and I'm not going to put them on, in front of earnings because you get slaughtered. I've seen way too many slaughters recently. Yeah, some stocks pop and it looks fantastic, but the risk, it's just a coin flip at best. Probably worse than a coin flip. So that's why I didn't put that one on. USAR. USA Rare Earth. This one's consolidating in a pattern pretty nice here. $14. This is a real top group here. You can see the consolidation. This thing looks like a mess, doesn't it? All right. That's it for that group. Some more builder name, VMC. That one's consolidating in a base. This one could definitely show up on our ready list here. Why? Well, it's trading tight within the base. It's moved 3% this week, so it's a little bit above its 5. So I like it a little closer. It's 1.6 above its 5. So maybe if it just pulls back a little bit, but it did have an inside day today. So that one may be ready to pop. Yeah, I wouldn't, yeah. I put that one on the ready list here maybe tomorrow. That one looks pretty good. And then another one in the building group. Man, this is, man, this thing's just on a heater. And I see if that thing runs up to 100. It pulled back one day to its 21 there on August 1st. And yeah, it's gone. What else do we have in this group? Oh, ACM, another one that is powered higher. I believe it had earnings. I think this is an earnings move today. Yeah, definitely. That's a nice cup with handle and a pop 7% this week. So congrats to the longs there. I'm going to move out of that group and go to more defensive names. Some of the defensive stocks. Yeah, popping out of a base here. Earnings once again here next week on Monday. So you can't really buy this thing, but just acknowledging strength here. Mercury Systems, CW, Curtis Wright making new highs. That thing looks super strong, 493. But once again, earnings tomorrow. That's why it's really tough right now. AVAV, this is one that I did put on because the earnings aren't for a while. It's kind of it's kind of wedging here. Call this like a bull wedge here, or if you will, a flag from the big move. Let's check out the weekly. I like to go to weekly charts. You have this big and then this flag. So you got to salute the flag. That looks pretty good here. I did put this on the ready list. It's only up 2% this week, but yeah, I kind of like AVAV. Had a bearish engulfing candle today as it bounced off its 21. All right. What else we have? ASTS. This one that I like a lot for longer term, but once again, it's got this, high tight flag, look again to it, right? Yeah, it's got the pole, and then this flag that you got to salute these flags. It's going to pop out of there at some point and make new highs. I believe earnings are real soon, though, the 11th, next Monday. So yeah, a lot of earnings are coming up. So you just can't buy and hope that the stock's going to go higher in earnings because you can get crushed that way. It happened to me way too many times. All right, I'm going to move on. No, I'm not. I got Rocket Lab in this group too. Another one that I like, and another flaggish looking pattern here where it made this big move from, 20 to 50, and now the last couple weeks has kind of pulled back. So yeah, a lot of these high tide flags here. And then within this group, I guess, JOBY is another one that popped yesterday, another one of these, high tide flags. And these are pretty rare. So when you see a lot of these, that tells you that the market's been pretty hot because these have already moved. We'll see if it can continue higher. That one's up 14% this week. Had a big move yesterday. And this group is now, real top group here with a lot of top stocks. All right. Buyers and sellers, supply and demand, support and resistance. That is the stock market. SEDG, solar now. Yes, this is another, high tide flag type looking thing off the lows, right? This thing's coming out of a stage one into a stage two, but this thing went from what, 12 to 26. That's where it's at, or what, 13 to 32. How about that? Now flagging pretty nice. And I did put First Solar on our ready list this week too, and I kind of like this one, cup with handle. And if these things can break out of this, I know everybody hates solar and the new administration, but you just go by what the stocks are doing. Just yeah, forget all the political crap. Just look at what the stock's doing. This thing looks to me like it wants to break out into a stage two advance. So, like I said, there's way more stage four than stage two. So if we can get more to the party, the more the merrier. And the last group I have to discuss is the energy group. I said it was down today, and the GEV, not much of a pullback. I always say buy these things on pullbacks, but I want it to be like a pullback to the 21, like it did on July 22nd. That's a real nice pullback there. Today, not really a pullback, but the last two out of the last three sessions. I'll go to a little longer term here. Yeah, two out of the last three sessions we've seen here a pullback on Friday where the panic sellers, it got bought up. Boy, did it ever. And then today had a nice day. Monday, then today sold off. Then some buyers came in. But yeah, on the daily, you want to see that thing come back to the 21 to get long. And right now, that's above 600. Back here in July on the 22nd, the 21 was at 535. And now we fast forward to August 5th and it's at 605. So yeah, I mean, if it pulls back to 605, maybe we pull the trigger if it finds support there. Another one that I have to mention is Oklo, and this is the number one group. Oklo making new highs today up 10%. Nice move. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I should have put this one on the right list, but I didn't. And it's got earnings on Monday, so you can't hold it too long unless you have a big cushion. And then CEG, they report here pretty soon. I'm not sure when. The 7th, Thursday. And this one, looks good too here, consolidating in a base. but I can't put it on the list here and then, buy it and then it gets slaughtered on Thursday, or who knows, maybe it'll break out of that consolidation pattern, but it's too risky. I'm not gonna, I'd rather be more conservative and not put people at risk and, tempt you to buy stuff in front of an earnings. That new data point has, we've seen a lot of stocks get slaughtered, and it's continuing tonight. All right. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except for I wanted to mention there's a lot of stocks. Every night I come on here and I show, strong stocks that are showing strength. Every morning I post, a list of 25 stocks or so that are showing relative strength, but I never show the stuff that's really damaged and just in downtrends and like doing absolutely nothing. CROX, this shoe group has been absolutely murdered. Yeah, look at this. Stage 4 decline. This is Deckers, which has been a winner for a long, long time. Just you can't buy this stuff. It's just wallowing. Lulu. I know people wanted to buy Lulu here at 340, then at 250. Oh, it's bottom. It's bottom. It hasn't bottomed. Novo Nordisk. I thought it bottomed at 80, then at 60, and now here it is at 47. It's just a lot of stocks getting slaughtered. I showed you Pfizer earlier. A lot of these drug stocks. I don't even want to show them. It's brutal. United Healthcare. This is a Dow Jones Industrial Average stock. Just absolutely murdered. The healthcare stocks have been murdered. Molina Healthcare. Um, so there's just a lot of weakness. Honeywell. This is a Dow Jones stock just going absolutely nowhere for a long time. Look at this, just sideways. No strength here. Lennar, a home builder, just trying to find a bottom. No strength. They can't move. The crypto names, MicroStrategy, just falling out now. This is a leader, and now it's falling out, much like the ones that I showed you, over and over again. CrowdStrike, Spotify, Netflix, Zscaler. These things are all declining here. When you see that. When you see that 5 or this green line crossing below the 21, look out. It's in a downtrend and you can't be buying this stuff. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, Coin is in the crypto space. This one sliced to 50 with volume. Adios, muchachos. This thing's in a definite downtrend. Look at that 5, slicing the 21, now slicing the 50. There's just a ton of names that were big winners, FICO. Sprout Social, these things are all in decline. INSP, SimRush, which was a great stock in 2020, 2021, but these things have just fallen out of, favor. So Accenture, which is a 168 billion market cap software name, this thing's just getting murdered. So there's a lot of yeah, just a lot of stocks and downtrends. I just wanted to point that out. When I say I was cautious, I went to yellow. I'm cautious because the rally's been, it's long in the tooth. We're seeing a lot of these stocks just getting hammered, and fewer stocks in a stage 2 uptrend. So I just wanted to point that out. I am still green because the Nasdaq's above the 21, but I'm very cautious. And if my new buys falter one more time, I'm gonna have to go to the yellow zone. All right, I did say in honor of the great Steve Jobs, one more thing, right? Tonight's earnings, AMD. I know a lot of people are ragging on AMD. This thing's a buy after hours, in my opinion. It pulled back to like 166 or so, and I was telling people this is a buy. Great report. People want to bag on Lisa Su, man. That was a great report. This stock's gonna be bought. Shoot, I'm going to buy it if it wants to pull back tomorrow, depending upon, how far, the dummies want to sell this thing down. Shoot, I should have bought it at 166. Now I'm looking at it, it's already up to 172. So yeah, but I like AMD. It's a great report. You want stocks with strong sales and earnings growth. That's what it's giving you. This thing's a leader. You got to look at a weekly chart. I know it's down after hours, but heck, it was a hell of a report. And I think personally, I'm not saying, this month or next month or this week, but eventually it's going to take out that box here, that old high. That's my opinion. 227.30. So yeah, I mean you got a 60 buck upside there. Not right away, but in time. I think it will do that. All right. Enough of AMD. Want to get to a winning stock, ALAB. This one, I've been saying the tell was Vertiv. When Vert reported last week, you got to make the connection, connect the dots, excuse me. When they reported those, there was a connection with ALAB, and ALAB's been ripping. Excuse me. Oh, my Dutch Bros teas went down the wrong pipe. Maybe that's a sign for tomorrow. It's going to choke. Dutch Bros looks horrible, by the way. Yeah, and I would say 147.39 would be a buy point here tomorrow. Not tomorrow. What you want to see here is, yeah, maybe it'll go 150, 155, but you want to see it pull back. Some profit taking for a couple of days and then let the moving average catch up and then we buy. And then the institutions come in and drive this thing higher. Yeah, I think it's going much higher. There it is. And the breakout, hopefully tomorrow. Because, yeah, we'll see. A lot of stocks not looking good after hours. SMCI, one of them, down, what, 14%. Open was getting slaughtered. Down 30%. There's been some jokers on here. It's not on here, excuse me, on Twitter saying this thing's the next Carvana, it's going to 80. And as I mean, you got to stay away from people like that. There's so many frauds on Twitter. It is ridiculous. They've been trying to pump it like a roaring kitty, saying it's the next GameStop or Carvana. But man, I'm glad to see that because I don't like to see, trash rewarded. And we've been seeing quite a bit of that. All right, so that's good. Open is closed. All right, Upstart reported. What do they do? Well, after hours, they lose money for you. Down 11%. Sorry about that. Snap, yeah, an ugly report. Nice response, down 15%. Good for them. Couldn't happen to better people. Skyworks, up 7%. This one's in a clear downtrend. Got a lot of work to do to get above the 50 and the 200, but up 7.5% after hours. So, yeah, that's good for them. ANET, that one was moving nicely. Remember, this one had like I want to say, was it a 5-for-1 stock split or a 10-for-1? Might have been a 5-for-1. I think it was a 5-for-1. But anyway, after the 5-for-1 stock split, it's sold off, and now it's been rallying back up, obviously, with the liberation from 59 to 118. Nice move, 14% after hours. So it's going to be like ALAB, where it gets back up to these old highs. And so you got to see how they respond there. And, there's going to be some sellers. So hopefully it'll stall, allow that moving average to catch up. And that's what we look for. And those don't chase it, the first day tomorrow. Because when it pulls back, you're going to be underwater and you're going to be saying, why did I chase it? That's not fun. HNGE, Hinge Health. I had this one on the ready list a couple weeks ago, and then it sold off. But I like this one as a IPO. I mean, it's coming to market with cash flow. It's not pre-revenue. They have revenue, unlike a lot of IPOs we're seeing recently. They're just yeah, yeah. I don't like those. You got to have some. You should have some earnings and you should have some revenue before you come to market. What else do we have tonight? Oh, KBY. Oh, this is an old name, Computer Software. It's been kind of consolidating. Did not participate in the Liberation rally, but maybe it'll start now. It's up to 34 after hours, up 10%. We'll see. It's got to drive through these moving averages. And but I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Definitely has been a loser during the Liberation Rally. Grocery outlet, I didn't look at the report there, but it's up, 11% after hours. QLYS, this is a, computer software security name. Ooh, cool yellow. Should be green. It's up 8% after hours. That's in the Zscaler, Rubrik, CrowdStrike group. I don't, it's not large enough to carry those. So it's a, less than a 5 billion market cap, but, good for that one. And then LEU reported after hours. This one pulled back. Another one of these flag type patterns, right? Where it showed weakness. I had this on the ready list last week. A flag type pattern. Now, breaking hopefully above to new highs. It's got a long way to go to 250, but it's going to break above the 5, obviously. And yeah, what 226 after hours. Got some work to do to make a new high, but that one I'm definitely watching. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. More earnings tomorrow.